You're in the driver's seat with Woodhouse. Shop, finance, and buy your next vehicle your way. From the comfort of your home at woodhouse.com, one of our 19 dealerships, or a combination of both. It's that easy. Plus, offering the most wanted new makes and leading pre-owned models, your next vehicle is on the lot or on its way. Shop confidently with the Woodhouse team today. Serving customers and communities since 1975. This is Woodhouse.
going to get started in a few minutes, but our wonderful people who shoot video would like everybody to move down as much as possible so it looks better on TV. Plus, you want to be on TV, don't you? So let's all move down here. Come on. This is your chance to get as close as you can to the players. So if you can't, I understand that. But we're going to give you some time. So we're getting started in a few minutes. I hope everybody put on your dancing shoes because this is going to be a party, okay? All right, come on down a little bit closer. We'll get going in a minute.
You guys want to shift down a couple rows?
One thing that would make me excited for him to not play my favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire song. That's because we're going to have a March Madness party. We're going to have a lot of fun here tonight. Welcome to the Nebraska Women's Basketball March Madness Tournament Selection Show presented by Woodhouse. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Matt Coatney, radio voice of the Huskers. And if you've ever been to a party with me, you know that I come through the door ready to dance. So let's do some dancing tonight, right? We have a lot of fun for you. We've got some speakers. You're going to get to meet the team. And at 7 o'clock, that big board up there is going to have the bracket. And there's one thing I know. It's going to say Nebraska on it. In fact, in the Big Ten, we're very proud of our relationship with the other schools, both athletically and educationally. We try to share items to help out educationally, so I'm going to do that tonight. I have in my hand an envelope you'll see that's addressed to Ann Arbor, Michigan. And I have some educational material for those fine folks. This is some pink chewing gum with instructions on the back for what can happen with the chewing gum if used correctly. And I'm going to send it to them so they know what a bubble looks like, because we don't need this in Lincoln, Nebraska. You will see on the screen throughout the night a QR code to get you on the season ticket list for 2022-2023. Who's going to come here and watch this team next year? Scan that QR code, get on Huskers.com. Now's the time to get on the wait list because we want to see these stands full next year for this great team. Well, we've got a lot for you tonight. We've got some speakers, but right now, who's excited to see where the Huskers are headed?
It's been a special season for Nebraska women's basketball, 24 wins and headed back to the big dance. And this team is not done yet. But before the Huskers begin their journey into March Madness, let's take a look back at some of the season's biggest moments. Back on November 20th, the Huskers hit the century mark for the third time in just their fifth game of the season, scoring 113 points against North Carolina Central. In the victory, Jazz Shelley with 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists for the fourth triple-double in program history and the first of the Aussies' career.
Here's a steal for Izzy Bourne. Huskers lead at 69-26. Ahead to Jazz Shelley. Transition three. Betcha! Shelley assist from Izzy Bourne with three. Huskers from Australia are dominating this game. 8 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Wow. Touchdown pass ahead. Izzy Bourne scores. The assist from Jazz Shelley.
Now that's a dime. That is a 55-foot dime.
Shelley, no look pass. Stewart shoots a three. You betcha! Jazz Shelley has a triple-double. A triple-double for Jazz Shelley.
It was really fun because that was like one of the first our preseason games, but it was like, wow, look at this team, like look how we're gelling already this early. It was really fun to see Jazz get a triple-double. I think it was great. That's when our confidence started, like we went from here to here. It was like, she's a really good player. Missed playing with her. I remember those first games and like the passes she was giving me is like I really missed the connection I have with her, and her passes are just always right on the spot. She's always super humble, which is a great thing, and she makes the people around her better, the teammates better. She's a pass-first guard, and that's so much fun to play with as a big. It's really, really fun and exciting, and you know that if you're open, she's going to get you the ball. But then also, like, if I'm doubled or Lex is doubled or anyone's doubled down in the post, she's open and she's a shooter, and she can hit that anytime she wants. And then I didn't even know until this season that she could rebound the way she does. So that was really fun to see this season as well.
After closing out the non-conference unbeaten for just the second time in program history, the Huskers had their Big Ten home opener on January 4th against number 8 Michigan. Alexis Markowski making her first career start, and this game a launching point for the freshman out of Lincoln. The Huskers with a dominating 79-58 win over the Wolverines behind 20 points and 7 rebounds from the eventual Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
Heidi out to the right elbow, deep right side, three for Markowski. You betcha! Back up, and it counts, and a foul. Alexis Markowski dominating the paint.
Markowski with 11 in the quarter. She has answered every punch.
Ahead to Markowski, goes against Kaiser, and it counts, and a foul. Ring it up. Alexis Markowski has her first 20-point game.
That game was my first career start. I was very nervous, but my teammates all really surrounded me, and they told me that they believed in me, so I just went out there and tried to play my best game. And my teammates are the reason that I'm able to be successful. I mean, I would not be the person or player I am without them, and I love them so much, and I'm so happy to be on a team with them. Playing that game and winning that game, we knew that we could go out there and beat anyone. I mean, to beat a top 10 program, not once but twice, I mean, you just gain a lot of confidence from that, and our team just got even closer after that game.
From one top 10 win to another, February 14th against number 5, Indiana. A 4-point game early in the fourth quarter and the Hoosiers on a run. That's when Sam Heidi did what Sam Heidi does, taking over the game in crunch time with back-to-back buckets, sparking a 16-0 run, scoring 10 of her 14 points in the fourth. A 17-point loss handed to the Big Ten leader, courtesy of a Nebraska team that proved to be be near impossible to beat in PBA behind the support of Husker Nation.
Strap it in, everybody. It's going to be a great finish. Heidi down the lane line. Can she finish? Yes, she can. Dribbles in, angles in, puts it up over Berger, and bakes it in. Sam Heidi has 2 straight baskets. Heidi going to go. Heidi puts it up and scores.
Huge finish on the right side for Sammy.
Off a Markowski screen down the middle of the lane. Sammy scores. It's a 21-point lead for the Huskers over the 5th-ranked Hoosiers.
That was fun. I definitely was emotional in some of those moments, really fired up, but you kind of just lock in, I guess, especially in a game like that. We're at home and we need it. Just kind of do my thing and hope the ball goes in, I guess. It's definitely a new role I've taken on this year too. We have so many different weapons that can score at any time on the court, and that's definitely a blessing for our team. So someone is getting the ball in the hole early, just kind of keep feeding them that, and then when it's my turn, it's my turn.
What did you feel from the crowd and Husker fans that night?
Husker Nation is unbelievable. This whole season they've been there with us through thick and thin, and to see games like that when they're on their feet and it's that loud, it's incredible and it's a special time. It's important to win those games at home, especially the big ones against ranked opponents. So for us to be able to do that and then see the continued support has been really good for us.
To Indianapolis we go in the Huskers' first game of the Big Ten tournament against Illinois, and the best three-point shooting performance in Big Ten tournament history, with the Huskers breaking the single-game team tournament record with 15 three-pointers. Jazz Shelley just could not miss. 9 of 13 from behind the arc, breaking the Nebraska program single-game record, and the three-point barrage putting on full display the best bench mob in all of college basketball.
Deep 3 for Shelley. You betcha! Jazz Shelley knocks down her 6th triple of the game. Timeout, Illinois. Jazz Shelley's on fire. Jazz Shelley steps into a 3 on the left wing. You betcha! Nebraska record for threes in a Big Ten tournament game, and it belongs to the Aussie, Jazz Shelley, and she's got 29. Deep right side. Jazz Shelley for the record. You betcha! You betcha! Jazz Shelley has tied her career high with her 32nd point and has the Nebraska record for threes in a game. She's got 9.
I mean, that was so much fun. That was, at that point, I was just kind of feeling it, and I was like, anything I put up right now it just felt good. So that was fun, and just watching the bench, they're incredible. I mean, some of those made me laugh, like them dunking on the sideline, them rolling the boat, they're just awesome. I wanted to shoot the ball, and I know my teammates wanted me to shoot the ball, so having that faith and that confidence from them, I mean, anything can happen in our team with that much confidence and support, and it's just overwhelmingly, it's fun.
Did you know how many threes you were racking up?
No, I didn't know it was 9.
So you have 9 threes, what did you think?
I wasn't prepared for that before the game, but everyone was finding me in spots, and I found myself pretty open, which, I mean, they just kept telling me to shoot it. And then Sam came and subbed me on. She said, let's just save some for tomorrow.
Up next in the quarters, a familiar foe in Michigan. A total collaborative effort that Amy Williams would describe as the most proud she's ever been. Early, it was Annika Stewart stepping up in the midst of Husker foul trouble. Late, it was Sam Heidi once again delivering the go-ahead and one. And in the final minute, it was everyone locking down on defense. And it was the freshman, Allison Widener, who sealed it with 2 clutch free throws with 4 seconds left on the clock, contributing a team-high 16 points in the upset and another top 10 victory.
Widener drives around, her layup is good. We're tied in Indy. We're tied with 2 minutes to go. Stand up, Humphrey, Nebraska. Allison Widener has tied the game. Again, Heidi down the left lane line. Serves breakfast, and it counts. And a foul. Hudson Omelet. He scooped it up with the left hand. Ties the game and has a chance to give Nebraska the lead. Widener makes move. Widener has 16. And can you smell the corn cooking in Indianapolis? Nebraska about to pull a major upset.
It was really fun. Obviously, those free throws were huge, and
Sam and Jazz kind of pulled me in and kind of said, like, we really need these. So, yeah, I was definitely nervous, but it was a lot of fun. I think everyone contributed in a different way, whether it was scoring, rebounding, defending. I just think we had a great night, and we had a little bit of a chip on our shoulder, and the energy was high, and we just really wanted that win. Coming in, I didn't really know what my role would be, but, our upperclassmen kind of welcomed me in and kind of showed me the ropes a little bit, and I've looked up to Sam a lot, and she's taught me a lot of things, so it's been really nice to have her. Just to play with her is a lot of fun.
When he spoke to the team, Zach Taylor said it best.
When I watch you ladies play, you see toughness, you see togetherness, you see a team that wants it more for the person next to them than they want it for themselves.
Night in and night out for Nebraska women's basketball, what can be seen is a team with an undeniable chemistry and a genuine love for playing the game with each other, providing for a very special season that's not done just yet.
Time to meet your 2021-22 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Coming out first all the way from the great country of Australia, she set the school record for threes in a game with 9 from Moe, Australia, 5'9", and we're happy to have her here, Jazz Shelley. When I talk to Husker fans, they all know where Humphrey, Nebraska is. One of the best freshmen in the state last year, won a state title on this floor, and she's in the starting lineup now. Will you please welcome from Humphrey, Nebraska, number 3, Allison Widener. Coming out next, one of our captains, one of our favorites. She's hit a lot of big shots in a lot of big games. We're happy to have her here. She used to be a Moorhead Spud. We're glad she's a Husker. Number 4, Sam Heidi. In that big win over the Michigan Wolverines, she came off the bench and made stuff happen. She is happy to be a Husker, and we're happy to have her here all the way from Stockton, California, Cole Keaton. If y'all want to know who the boss is, head out to Hall County, Nebraska. She had a great looking dunk in that video. From Grand Island, the mob boss, Whitney Brown. I am so proud of this player. She gives so much to this team. The Australians have dominated this Nebraska team all the way from Adelaide, Australia. Number 11, Ruby Porter. During Nebraska's run in the Big Ten tournament, she had some absolutely big baskets. She's a blue-collar player, and she is a big-time Husker, all the way from Hawaii, Bella Craven. a big part of the bench mob, and you saw a great slam dunk she did during that bench mob celebration. And by the way, she's a great basketball player too. Number 15, Kendall Moriarity. Another player at a huge Big Ten tournament comes to us from the great state of Minnesota, and we were happy to have her back on the floor. Put your hands together for number 21, Annika Stewart. We didn't get to see this Husker on the floor this year, but wow, am I excited to see her next year, and you will be too. Would you please give a big round of applause for Naila Dillard? Our next player has been huge off the bench all year. She came here when she still had high school eligibility, and she has done great things for Nebraska all the way from Minneapolis. Number 32, Kendall Coley. Another player you didn't get to see on the floor during games this year, but you will next year. Put your hands together for Tatiana Popa. Another one of the Husker captains is our third player from Australia, and she has had some big games in her career. Will you please give a warm Husker welcome to Izzy Bourne? I told you about one Husker freshman from Nebraska, but there were two, and she made this league. Take notice of her very, very quickly. There was no doubt who was going to be the Big Ten Freshman of the Year from right here in Lincoln, Nebraska, Alexis Markowski. And now, will you help me bring onto the floor the absolute best coaching staff in the Big Ten, Coach Amy Williams and her staff. Joining Amy Williams is Coach Tom Gailey, Tandem Mays, Logan Sizer, Amanda Hart, strength coach Alex Jardine, and athletic trainer Ben Hoover, the coaches. And now it is my sincere pleasure to introduce to you someone I love working with. She's played as a Husker. She's coached as a Husker. She's going to coach in her second Big Ten tournament or second NCAA tournament next week. Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Williams.
Thank you so much for the intros and the video, and thank you fans for being here to support us tonight. We're just so excited to have one more opportunity to really say thank you and to share something that's really important to us here tonight. So we're happy you could be here and we could say thank you one more time. This team has just been an absolute pleasure for me to coach all year. We made it kind of our motto at the beginning of the season to compete and connect. And I think that I've just been so proud of the way they've continued to fight all season and really stay together and stay connected. The most proud I am is when I hear people say how obvious it is that this group has great chemistry and you can just feel it oozing out of them. I'm so proud of that because they've really bought in to compete and connect. I do want to just say a few thank yous for people that were really instrumental in getting us here. So first to my amazing staff and performance team, Jeff and Matt, and all of the media that has covered us all season so well. Thank you to my family, Lloyd and Kennedy and Bentley, and my parents, and all of the families of all of our players who've just been so supportive, who've raised incredibly tough young ladies and shared them with us. A huge thank you to all of our student managers and our male practice players, who there is zero chance that we would be sitting here watching selection show without them. And anytime that you accomplish amazing things, there's great leadership behind it. We're so blessed to have amazing leaders. President Ted Carter, Chancellor Ronnie Green, his wife Jane, I know, is our #1 fan. Our athletic director, Trev Alberts, our sport administrator, Keith Zimmer, and Pat Logston, who had that role for many, many years. Just huge thank yous to your vision for our program and the support that's led us to be here. We've had great support from our entire social media team, and it's just really taken off, the support that we've gotten all over social media, and that is a huge credit to the #1 thank you that I have tonight, and that's to you, our fan base, who's just been awesome and supportive of us all year, so thank you very much.
Amy, thank you very much. That was awesome. Thank you very much. Next up, we've got two amazing captains. I've been around this program a long time, and when you start thinking about what a Husker women's basketball player should be, you could not have two better representatives for this team and the history of this program. Will you please welcome to the microphone our captains, Izzy Bourne and Sam Heidi.
Guys. Thank you all for coming out tonight to celebrate this special night with us. We appreciate your support and getting us here, basically. It's been fun to play in front of you guys and have you guys as our biggest fans.
PBA has been a really special place for us all season, and there really is no place like Nebraska. I know we're all super excited and very proud to be able to represent Nebraska in the NCAA Tournament. So thank you, Husker Nation, and go Big Red.
Thank you, ladies. Coming up next, I have to tell you, I've been to a lot of conference tournaments. This is the first time I've ever seen the athletic director look like he was going to check in the game. I mean, he was everywhere. He was in the band. He grabbed a trumpet. He was right? That's pretty cool, isn't it? By the way, how about a big hand for Big Red Express over here? By the way, how about our Spirit Squad back here, right? I think the only reason the guy I'm about to introduce didn't check in the game was because Izzy Bourne was wearing his number 34. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce to you a great Husker and now the Vice Chancellor and the Director of Athletics, Trev Alberts.
Thank you, Matt. Is there anybody better than Matt? Seriously, this guy's amazing. Well, I'm just going to say a couple of words. I know it's always tough being the last speaker when really what you want to see is what's going to happen up here. So I'm going to go real quick, but I'm here to represent all of administration. I'm here to represent Chancellor Green, and so on behalf of Chancellor Green and his wife Jane, who are some of the biggest fans of you all, as you know, we just want to first say thank you very much. We want to say thank you to the fans. Thank you for making this program so special. You know, we really can't do much in the athletic department without a fan base. And so your passion, you fought through a pandemic, you continue to support this team, and I want you to know how much we appreciate it. So thank you to the fans. Yeah. I love this team. To be honest with you, I don't know a lot about women's basketball, but what I do know is I know about effort, I know about toughness, I know about grit, I know about togetherness, and I know about discipline and fundamentals. And this team has it. And so, yes. I've had so much fun watching this team compete this year, watching all of them, from the freshmen all the way up to the upperclassmen, to see how you conducted yourself. But more importantly, obviously in administration, it's not just the basketball component, which is very, very important, but it's also in the classroom, how they represent our athletic department and the community. And these are some of the best people you'll ever meet in your life. So thank you so much for all of what you guys do. I really mean that. And finally, I want to thank Coach Williams. I've gotten to know Amy a little bit, and the team that she coaches is a reflection of her. Her passion, her will to win, how much this program means to her, it's really obvious. And I love this little saying, and this is going to be appropriate for what this team is about to do in the NCAA Tournament. Just remember one thing. Passion has a funny way of trumping logic. Go Big Red.
How about another hand for Athletic Director Trev Alberts, everybody? That was great. All right, you came here to see the selection show. We're about 2 minutes away from that. Now, as the selection show goes along, we will have some other fun things for you fans that we have. So stick around. It's going to be a lot of fun. And who's ready to dance? Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
That's not very good.
Yeah.
So you kind of don't want that. But if that's what it is, that's what it is. I think we would go to Ames as a 7, is what I think. And Baton Rouge as a 6, but we could also go to Knoxville.
Well, happy Selection Sunday, everybody. The Huskers are dancing. Where? We will all soon find out together as we welcome you into our Nebraska Women's Basketball NCAA Selection Show presented by Woodhouse alongside Jeff Grease. He's the Sports Information Director for this team. Also can hear his voice on the radio call for the Huskers. I'm Jessica Cootie, and what we will be doing here, ESPN, of course, announcing the bracket one by one, but we are going to tailor this stream to Husker information, right? So we will step aside aside as soon as we start hearing teams being revealed, but we will fill the time up until then. It kind of can be a little bit of a show for ESPN, so we will help fill that time until then.
Yeah, and it's always an interesting thing to see where everybody's going to go. You kind of have to know what's going on with the bracket to figure out what's changed with the bracket or where the expectations are going different. So I'll be ready for that when we see it, but it's going to be an interesting night because there's a lot of flipping that went on because of the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City this weekend, and a bunch of AQs that weren't supposed to win won in some minor conferences.
Well, when talks began to start happening about what was going to be done on Selection Sunday, and we knew that this team was going to be in, of course, it was a no-doubter that we had to have it in PBA in front of these fans who helped this team basically secure this spot, no doubter, because of the way they were able to protect home court.
Yeah, and Nebraska was great at home this season. 16-1 at PBA, tied the school record for most wins in a season with 16, but it's also the way they won. I mean, Nebraska dominated teams at home this season. I think the average winning margin was more than 25 points a game. You don't see that very often. The Huskers had a team that was a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament that didn't come close to winning by 25 points a game. So when you put all those things together, this environment here at Pinnacle Bank Arena had a huge impact on Nebraska, and I think it's going to in the years to come as well.
Well, this is the first time ever that the women's basketball tournament is being announced on Sunday, Selection Sunday, and there's been some changes to the tournament. The first time ever, 68 teams. There's going to be first 4. It's being called March Madness. How big is this for women's basketball?
Well, I think it's a really big step up. I think, one, to increase the size of the tournament's really big. Moving into Sunday, I don't know if it's going to stay at Sunday because, things will change as they make adjustments to the tournament again. But I think this year it was the right thing to do, and I'm really excited to see what those first 4 games look like on the women's side.
All right, let's talk about potential seeds of where Nebraska could go. Do you expect them to be 6 or 7? I know a lot of brackets and projections have them in at about a 6 or 7.
Yeah, and I think Nebraska earned a 6 seed at the Big Ten tournament this year. I think they were being projected a little lower before the Big Ten tournament as an 8, as a 7. That gave some talk that they maybe were a bubble team because you can always play your way down as well. But Nebraska played their way up to their net ranking, and that net evaluation tool this year is a big deal. It's a really good evaluation tool to show what your team really is. Nebraska at 23, firm in a slot as a 6. Doesn't mean they can't adjust us up or down because of procedures in the tournament. So the Huskers could be a 7, and that might be fine. Sometimes that 7 is better than a 6. We'll just have to see what it looks like when they put the whole bracket together.
Well, and I think one thing to note, too, is that depending on Big Ten teams, right, Nebraska can't be matched up in the first or second round against Big Ten teams.
Right. So if Iowa's a 3 seed, if Michigan's a 3 seed, Nebraska's not going there. If Maryland's a 4 seed, if Indiana's a 4 seed, Nebraska's not going there. So it kind of makes things interesting to see where the slots come up because you're not going to go to your own conference in the first 2 rounds.
All right, I believe they are announcing the number 1 seed there. So we will step aside here and let you guys listen to this. 1 overall seed.
No, and that's the right call. There was a little bit of difference between who the 16s were that were going to South Carolina, though, and Howard, the Bison, who got in with a win in the MEAC, will be taking on Incarnate Word, who's the lowest seeded team in the tournament, net 315 Incarnate Word.
And again, are surprised at all? Were you surprised to see Iowa jump up to a 2 seed?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting that they moved Iowa to the 2 seed because Iowa State beat Iowa this year in the regular season, and so Iowa State adjusts down to the 3, Iowa moves up to the 2, and those regions are opposed to each other. So Creighton has a 10 seed going to Iowa City along with Colorado, a team that everybody knows really well. Illinois State, who won the automatic bid out of the Valley, also going to Iowa City. And DePaul being in is a bit of a surprise. They in the net rankings are in the low 50s. I think they get in because of Anissa Morrow, the daughter of former Husker Nafisa Brown, and I think that got them in just because she's such a draw. Her numbers were enormous this year among freshmen in the country. So I think that got them in. That's going to be a tough road between Iowa and Iowa State on that side of the bracket.
Ames was a potential destination for the Huskers, so that knocks one of them off, right?
We know we're not going to Ames, Iowa. We know we're not going there, and Hilton Coliseum's a hard place to win, so that's okay.
Could you potentially read anything into Iowa getting a 2 seed with the maybe where the committee sees the Big Ten?
Yeah, I think it does. I think giving Iowa a 2 seed is a good thing for the Big Ten Conference, no doubt, because basically what it looked like it was going to be 3 Big 12 teams as 2 seeds and then several Big Ten teams as 3 seeds.
All right, so here comes the reveal for the Bridgeport region. So we will kind of be quiet a little bit so you can hear a little bit, but NC State is the number 1 overall seed in the Bridgeport region. For a lot of these players here that are waiting, this is the first time being a part of this.
Yeah, no, it's something, and it's something different. If you've never really paid attention to it before, it can be kind of confusing what you're watching, actually.
For a team like NC State, no good deed goes unpunished, right? Let's take a look at your 8-9 matchup in the Bridgeport.
Kansas State gets in there.
Yep, and I think they're correctly slotted as a 9. Washington State really interesting as an 8 seed, 55 in the net ranking.
Kansas State, they get their 17th NCAA Tournament appearance. Their first was 2019, and of course they are led by Oakley and her 22.4 points per game this season, most in the Big 12. So congratulations to those teams. Let's get you to your 4-13.
There is Oklahoma in at number 4 seed. And the Big Ten projected to get 5 teams in, potentially 6 with Northwestern on the bubble.
Yeah, and I think it'll be 6 solid. With Northwestern would be a 7, but DePaul getting in is going to keep Northwestern out. IUPUI, a really, really good basketball team. They beat Iowa in Iowa City this year and lost to Michigan in overtime to start the year.
So there is Notre Dame and UMass.
And that's an interesting one because Notre Dame was projected to go to Bloomington. UMass has a strong connection to this Nebraska team. Head coach Torrey Verdi was a longtime assistant at Nebraska under Connie Yori. He was part of the staff on the 2010 Nebraska team.
Again, this is the Bridgeport region. NC State, the number 1 seed in this region. Moving now to the bottom of the bracket. There is 3, Indiana.
3 seed, so the Big Ten getting respect is what we're seeing right now. Strong run by the Hoosiers in the conference tournament. Gets them 2 slots forward is what I would say, from a 5 to a 3.
They look like vintage Indiana there in that tournament.
Yeah, they played super hard, and they had their players on the floor, and they executed really well down the stretch this season.
Oh, there is Kentucky.
Wow.
The Cinderella team in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, and they got a little more respect too, kind of slotted as a 7, They're a mid-30 net ranking team, so Kentucky gets a 6. Princeton, the champions of the Ivy, their net ranking is actually higher than Nebraska's. Princeton is. They're at 22.
All right, so Indiana, a number 3 seed, Iowa, number 2 seed so far in the Big Ten.
That is a really strong regional.
Oh, there is UConn, a 2 seed.
So the real big question now is whether Baylor or Louisville or Texas gets a 1 seed.
And there is UCF and Florida. That's an intriguing matchup
there. It is,
there.
and you know, Charlie Cream had that as South Florida and Florida, and he also had Miami, and I think UCF, interesting, they just flipped it around and sent them different directions.
And again, this NCAA Tournament selection show is presented by Woodhouse. Shop Woodhouse first, 18 brands, 16 convenient locations, simplified car buying to save you time. Shop, finance, and buy online at woodhouse.com. So there's the Bridgeport region. We got 2 down, 2 to go. Nebraska in one of these final 2. So, of course, they're going to make us wait, right?
Yeah, no, and that was the case, you know, in 2018 when Nebraska made the tournament, they were the last name called.
Wow.
We went right down to the wire. So we're used to being patient. It's actually better to see the whole tournament kind of play out in front of you a little bit, so no problem with doing that. Really interesting bracket seeds right now, and I think what we've seen so far is that the Big Ten has gotten a little extra respect because of the performance by their teams in the conference tournament.
You know, when I sat down with Megan Kahn at the Big Ten tournament, she said that she was going to go fight for these teams, and they were going to break down, hey, this is why this team deserves to be here,
right,
and kind of really dive into why certain teams should get a little bit more respect than they were getting.
Yeah, and it's obvious that they did. Both Indiana and Iowa, I think, gained a seed based on projections from where they were. So now what will be interesting is whether Maryland holds on to a 4 spot and whether Michigan holds on to a 3 spot, because both those teams lost early in Indianapolis. So we'll see, because maybe it was just a slide down. Maybe the Big Ten teams are just being rewarded for winning late in the season.
Has the bracket shaken out so far how it was projected? It hasn't really?
No, it hasn't really, but it hasn't been that far off. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting. It's been a team here and a team there. It's been a 15 or a 16, a 7 or an 8. Those seeds are so close when you're talking about the 1s and the 16s and the 2s and the 15s, and then you get to the 7 through the 10. It's really hard to delineate between those two, so those are kind of toss-ups.
How exciting, though, is this tournament? Because there's more parity this year than there ever has been. Usually we're going into this thing and there's more, we know more,
yes,
and we know more about the season, the locked-in seeds, than we had
yes,
this year.
No, and I would agree with that totally, and I think the way the net rankings have played out, too, have just really made it easier to pay attention to the season from a top to bottom. You know, for a casual fan of women's basketball, you see the coaches poll, you see the AP poll, but they don't really give you a really good sense of what these teams really are, where the net has done that. A couple years into the net rankings, I think it is such a better metric of where the teams really are, and I think we're seeing that as this comes out this year. So it's going to be a really interesting second half of the bracket reveal.
So getting a few questions on why we can't show the screen. We are not allowed to show the ESPN broadcast. So we wanted to still bring you this live so that you could get the Nebraska basketball team's reaction when that happens live. So you're going to get to see it in real time when that happens. But we legally cannot show you what's going on at ESPN. So we're just
really
kind of providing you the commentary.
Yeah, what they should do is we should sell advertising on the back of our heads, and then we couldn't have the back of our heads on the screen.
Right? No, but again, just so great for Husker fans to show out and show up for this team. It's meant a lot to this team to gain this kind of support, and all year long here inside PBA, they were pretty much unbeatable.
No, that's right. And, we talked about the performance that Nebraska had this season inside PBA, but the attendance inside PBA this year was terrific. Nebraska increased their season attendance from 2 years ago, which that was pre-COVID. A lot of COVID shadow still hung over the season this year for much of it, and Nebraska's attendance higher this year. The Huskers ranked in the top 20 nationally in average home attendance. In total home attendance, Nebraska in the top 15 nationally. Great fan base here in Lincoln.
So we're in a commercial break. You can see Matt Coatney over there. He's a game show host now, apparently. But
it's funny that he's not actually shooting.
Well, so we got some games going on, again, providing the entertainment during commercial break with this ESPN broadcast. But, we had talked a little bit about it for a lot of these players that are sitting here. This is their first time going through this,
right.
And especially together. Even Sam Heidi has
an
experience.
No, that's exactly right. None of the players that are on Nebraska's team who have been at Nebraska for more than 1 year have been in the NCAA tournament. One, because there was no NCAA tournament in 2020.
Right.
Last year was a strange season, so it was going to be tough to get there, especially with an all-conference schedule, essentially, for Nebraska last year. But they did get to go to the postseason, so they paid attention to the bracket last year, played in the WNIT. 2 years ago, the 2020 season, Nebraska would have been WNIT eligible, but there was no postseason. For Sam Heidi, who's been the longest here, she's had the longest wait, and so it's a special moment for Sammy especially.
Got quite a few of you watching on our Facebook stream. Let us know where you're watching. I know we have lots of parents and family members in Australia that are tuning into this right now.
Yeah, and they are so great about communicating with us during the regular season. The Bourne family, they have been basically forced to watch everything. Mm-hmm. And the links that we can provide them has been terrific, and I hear for them before every game, so that's terrific. Ruby Porter's family as well. They are religious listeners and watchers of our team. And then Jazz Shelley knew this year, and her family got to follow a little bit more in person this year, including her grandparents. Great to see them here.
This team has been so special. It is and we have the bracket coming up, so we will talk again here in just a minute. So here we go. There is the 8-9 matchup there in the Spokane region. Kansas, the 8th seed. I missed the 1 seed in this one.
Yeah, Stanford. Yep.
All right, so Kansas and Georgia Tech. Big 12's got a good representing.
They have too, and I think they've been adjusted up a seed as well from projection. So I think the Big 12 and the Big 10 really getting respect in the tournament.
There is Maryland.
Wow.
Staying in at that number 4 seed.
And that's a good slot for them.
Don is watching in Durango, Colorado. Jake from Alliance, Nebraska says, go Big Red.
Yep.
Evan is watching in Omaha. Judith in Morgan City, Louisiana. Hey, still a chance we're headed your way, Judith. There's Virginia Tech and Florida Gulf Coast. Dave is watching in Wayne, Nebraska. Randy is in Cody, Nebraska. Go Big Red. See Gretna, Pierce, Grand Island, Auburn. You guys are all over the state of Nebraska. Esterville, Iowa. That's where Patricia is watching. Andy Kramer says watching from the exotic faraway land of Omaha.
It is exotic in Omaha.
Kevin is watching in Wayne, America, in Wayne,
that's
Nebraska.
The best place to be. If you're not in Lincoln, Wayne, America is the place to be.
Oh, and there is LSU.
There's LSU.
Number 3, a 3 seed. So this is a potential spot for Nebraska.
Yep. And the bottom part of that bracket holds from what projections were.
Kim Mulkey in her first season at LSU. Been a pretty surprising turnaround. Or were you surprised?
Yeah, they have some good players there. They had some good players, and they didn't have to rebuild. They just needed to find themselves.
Ohio State. And you can hear the team.
Well, and what that really means to me is that it's very likely that Nebraska's going to Knoxville.
So you heard the team. You might have heard the team's reaction. That was one of the spots that Nebraska could have gone, and it wasn't Nebraska. It was Ohio State. So you figure the little bit disappointed, that anxiousness of waiting for your name to be called right now. So there is Texas. Boy, they have been on a tear to close out the season. Won the Big 12 tournament here this afternoon. Moved up to that 2 seed because that was a potential spot for Nebraska. They were a 3 seed going into the Big 12 tournament. Now moved up to a 2, and with Nebraska slated to be a 6.
Yep, and if Nebraska gets slotted as a 7, this is a potential name call for Nebraska right here.
As you take a look at Fairfield, your NAAC champion, 25 wins this season. That is tied for the most in school history. Their first tournament appearance.
Hey, the last women's team that went down to Austin fared pretty well.
Well, we went and we played Arizona State in.
I'm at the volleyball team.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I remember going down there in 2018.
Oh, there's Utah and Arkansas, so won't be Austin.
Interesting on the board right now. South Dakota as a potential 10 or 11 kind of seed could be facing Nebraska as a potential 6 or 7 in one of these regions. I'm not sure Coach Williams would love that very much.
All right, so Utah, Arkansas, 7-10. They're in that region. So more than likely going to have to wait for the next bracket.
That's
reveal
right.
the next region to hear Nebraska's name called.
Yep, and this comes into the Wichita Regional.
Hey!
Will be the next one coming in.
There we go. If you make a Sweet 16, that is a short drive for Husker fans.
It is.
Let me take the chance here to remind Husker fans, don't miss your chance to get a first look at this year's Nebraska football team at Memorial Stadium. The annual Husker Red and White Spring Game is set for Saturday, April 9th at 1 p.m. Tickets are on sale now for only $10. To secure your tickets or for more information, go to huskers.com/tickets or 402-472-3111. You've been been around this team, working with this team for a very, very long time. Where does this team, the chemistry, the closeness of this team match up to some of the teams in the past?
It's really similar to Nebraska's 2013 and 2014 teams, and maybe to a better extent the 2008 team. I mean, this is so close to what the 13 and 14 teams were. The 2013 Nebraska team went to the Sweet 16 as a 6th seed, won in College Station, Texas. The 2014 team won the Big Ten tournament title and went to Los Angeles and got upset by BYU in the second round there, but they're so close to those two teams.
All right, I was going to read a few more shout-outs where we are. Brian says the LSU coach yelled at the refs not long ago and it went viral. Yes, she did. All right, are we going back into the next bracket? Jason's in Montgomery, Texas. Nick is in Riverton, Wyoming. So here is the final 1 seed reveal right here.
This is a big wait for.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger
here. Louisville is the number 1 seed there in this Wichita region.
Which makes Baylor the number 2 seed in this regional as well.
So not too much longer now. We do know we will be in this region. You can see the anticipation on the players' faces. What a fun time.
Oh, boy.
There's Nebraska. All right, there it is. There's the matchup. Your reaction?
Wow. Well, that's a low seed for Nebraska, and it's probably a low seed for Gonzaga as well. And my reaction really is, okay, Louisville, we're going to give you a number 1 seed, but now you have to play top 25 teams in the second game. So that's a tough 4-team bracket for all 4 of those teams that are in there, because Louisville has a 5-6 kind of net ranking. Nebraska and Gonzaga number 23 and number 25. So that is going to be an interesting 4-team first and second round site.
So Nebraska in at the number 8 seed will face number 9 Gonzaga, 26-6 in Louisville. The potential to face off against Louisville in the second round, the number 1 overall seed in that region. What do you know about Gonzaga?
So Gonzaga won the West Coast Conference title. Nebraska played San Diego out of the West Coast Conference at Thanksgiving in San Diego. It's a very competitive conference at the top. San Diego, St. Mary's, BYU's new to that conference this year, and Gonzaga. BYU would be the regular season champions in that league, and Gonzaga won the tournament title to get the automatic bid.
There's Michigan, got a 3 seed.
They maintain that 3 seed. Really interesting that Nebraska was slotted down from their line even after beating Michigan in the conference tournament. Again, procedural slotting is not strange. You know, just to make for a matchup, Jeff Walls, the head coach at Louisville, was an assistant coach under Paul Sandiford at Nebraska. He was an assistant coach while Amy Williams was a player here. So Nebraska has played Louisville in the Big Ten ACC Challenge fairly recently, a few years ago in Louisville. It'll be an interesting trip to Louisville, Kentucky.
So say Nebraska takes care of business in the first round over Gonzaga. What kind of matchup does Louisville provide?
I'll tell you, Louisville's a terrific defensive team. They will get after you all over the floor. Nebraska, good half-court offensive team, quarter-court offensive team, but the Huskers also stretch it. I think Nebraska, if they got to the point, which is a big if, because the 8-9 game is a toss-up game in the NCAA tournament. And with a number 23 net and a number 25 net going between Nebraska and Gonzaga, that's as big of a toss-up game as there is in the first round.
So you heard us talking earlier about this team, not really a lot of experience together at Nebraska going to this tournament. Jazz Shelley, how big does she become in this type of situation? She's been to the tournament. She has the experience.
Yeah, and she had a experience in the tournament last year with Louisville. Oregon played Louisville last year in the tournament. Jazz Shelley was played in the game, didn't play in the first round game, did play against Louisville. And so, you know, who knows whether that experience means anything or not for Jazz Shelley, but we'll see. And she really is the only player that Nebraska has with NCAA tournament experience.
You know, I thought it was interesting because, again, all along, we kept expecting to see Nebraska with a 6 or a 7. They end up an 8, and they just were excited to hear their name called.
No, that's exactly right, and that's what you have to do. 6, 7, 8, it's all toss-up. When you get between 6 and 11, those games are great games in the NCAA tournament. The great thing about being a 6 seed is that you're slotted against a 3, and the 3s generally are not as tough as the 2s and the 1s. And so you get a little better path. You got to beat them all if you want to advance, and so it doesn't really matter where you're slotted.
Louisville, the 1 seed, but they were fringe, maybe moving to the 2 seed, right?
Right, and they were upset in their last game, and they haven't played for a long time, and so it'll be interesting. They're very familiar with the Nebraska program, certainly Louisville is, and Nebraska very familiar with the Louisville program as well. So Louisville is a great city to go to. They have an arena that feels just like Pinnacle Bank Arena, so I think that'll be a bit of an advantage for Nebraska when they're playing Gonzaga in the first round.
So got a question here. Definitely feel like we deserved a better seed. What do you think went into determining why Nebraska ended up at an 8?
For me, it's procedural. For me, like it's really interesting. In the bracket that Nebraska was projected in, they were projected to play Gonzaga in Baton Rouge, and Nebraska was a 6, Gonzaga as an 11. Okay, 11's too low for Gonzaga. They're 25 in the net rankings. 11 is really kind of a slap in the face. A 9 seed is okay for Gonzaga when you're being slotted what they are in the conference that they're in. It doesn't really matter whether you're a 6 or 11. At the start of the day, Nebraska's looking on a screen and it says Nebraska versus Gonzaga. Well, we're going to get Nebraska versus Gonzaga, an 8-9 game, and I think that's close to where these two teams are.
Should be an excellent matchup, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it definitely will be a great game.
What's the process like for this team now? I mean, we find out when will we find out when, what time, what day, all of that?
So that should be coming shortly. It'll probably come after the bracket comes out. Might be tonight, might not be till tonight or until tomorrow morning because ESPN will now correct the matchups for themselves and determine what's on when and all those kind of things. And the host sites have already determined what days they want to play on. Don't know whether those are approved yet, but they will have that communication, and then they'll communicate with Nebraska shortly.
So did Northwestern get in? I missed it.
Northwestern did not get in. And they really, their net ranking was just too low. DePaul, probably one of the last teams in the tournament. Their net ranking about 52 or 53 out of the Big East. Northwestern about a 64 in the net at the start of the day.
So Big Ten ended up getting 5 teams in.
Six
teams in. And it was surprising because we were sitting here seeing a lot of the Big Ten teams being higher or securing those higher seeds, and then the one that was Nebraska that we were kind of surprised about.
And that's the way it goes sometimes. The best thing that Nebraska can do to get a better seed next year is win in the first round this year and then play their brains out against Louisville in the second round. But you don't get to go anywhere unless you beat the Bulldogs.
It's the first NCAA tournament appearance for this program since 2018, the second since Amy Williams has been the head coach.
Correct. And again, all kinds of COVID problems in between those two things. And so, I think it's really good for Nebraska to be in. Now it's time for Nebraska to win a game and then take it as it comes.
All right, so Matt Coatney is taking over the mic. I know you have media duties, right, that you have to get to. We're going to try to get a player or coach over here to talk to you, so stand by. We will be back with more action. And thanks to Jeff Grease for joining us. He's got to wrangle the media up for interviews.
Thank you.
And they will take on Gonzaga, the champions of the West Coast Conference. That will be an exciting game. Nebraska back in the NCAA Tournament. Stick around. We're going to do a T-shirt toss for you before we get going, and then the team will be around for about 15 minutes. So get on your feet. Who wants some T-shirts? Let's make some noise for these Huskers while we get you some T-shirts. And again, the team will be around signing for about 15 minutes after this is over. Put your hands up for some T-shirts, everybody. We will talk to you on Friday from Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you for coming out. The team will be here for about another 15 minutes, signing autographs.
All right, here with Jazz Shelley. Well, how did that feel? You've been to the NCAA tournament, but to see Nebraska pop on that screen, to experience it with this team who I know you're so close with.
Yeah, I mean, it's so special. These girls mean so much to me, and to see our name go up there, it's just all of our hard work paying off right now, and it's incredible to see some recognition, and we're just so excited to now get into practice tomorrow and go out and to play Gonzaga. So
you guys had a week long to kind of rest, recuperate following the Big Ten tournament. How long was this week? What was the day like leading up to today?
It was weird. We've never had this much time off, so it was also exciting. We never had time to just, work on ourselves and try and fine-tune things that we need to work on, so it was incredible this week to really just focus on us and not have to think about a matchup or a scout. So it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
So you're the only person that has NCAA tournament experience. You've been with Oregon last year, but what will be your message with this team, being that you have experience, you kind of know what it takes?
It's March. Anything can happen, and I mean, we've showed that we can beat some big-name teams, and I think if we have the belief going into this tournament, we can do incredible things that we know what we're capable of. So,
you know anything about Gonzaga yet?
I have no idea. Yeah. I have no idea. But I know they're a tough team. They played some big-name teams as well, and it's going to be a good matchup.
With the potential to play Louisville, and then if you win that one, a chance to come back to Wichita, which is really close to Husker fans. Mm-hmm. But what is the process like of preparing to get ready to go to Louisville to play a Gonzaga team and then turn right around and have a quick turnaround and play again?
I mean, we put a lot of emphasis on scout, so I mean, we'll be able to pick apart Gonzaga and try and figure out how we're capable of beating this team, and I think we need to lock into that. We've never had so much time to scout a team. So I think it's exciting for us to be able to do that all this week.
Hey, are your parents watching right now, or where are they watching, you think?
They'll probably be watching, probably on this live stream.
On the Facebook?
Yeah,
okay,
they might be.
So shout out Jazz's family
Shout out.
if they're watching. You mentioned you guys showed that you can beat top teams,
Yeah.
top 10 teams. You can beat anybody. What does that take? What does that take for this team?
I think it's all about that belief that we have and the confidence we have in each other. I mean, we're a talented bunch of players, and we just love the game. So I'm excited for us to continue with that belief and really go up against any team that we have in line.
Last thing, how special was it to get to share this with some fans that have helped you guys protect this home court all year long?
It's huge. I think this night was definitely well worth it because these fans deserve so much. Like, I'm so excited to go and talk to some of them. This Husker Nation is incredible, and I'm so proud to be one of these people.
All right, we'll let you get out of here and go sign some autographs.
Cool. Thank you.
Appreciate it. That is Jazz Shelley as Jazz and the Huskers will get set to take Gonzaga in the first round of the NCAA tournament. All right, we'll step aside here. We do have a press conference stream coming up, so stick with us. We'll let you go listen in live to Amy Williams' reaction to the NCAA tournament nod, and Nebraska being a number 8 seed that will face number 9 Gonzaga in Louisville, with the potential to face off against number 1 Louisville there in that region. So stick with us. We have more coming up here on this NCAA Nebraska Women's Basketball Selection Show presented by Woodhouse. All right, we're back again courtside, joined by assistant coach Tom Gailey. Well, you saw the name there, Nebraska on the screen. How special was it? You've been through this before, but with this group of girls and how special this team has been, how special was it to see that, experience that?
It's always great to see your name pop up. You know, that's the first time for those young ladies. Not one of them has been through that and experienced that. So we're just really thankful to be able to be there and to see that. And the excitement is real. It's like you could send us anywhere, to be honest. And I think the draw that we got, we're really excited about the draw. And then obviously being in the Wichita region, you got to take care of business. But you can dream a little bit and say, hey, we could be just playing down the road in 2 weeks.
At what point did you guys realize that, hey, we got an NCAA tournament team, we got a special team here that we've got here in Nebraska?
Yeah, I think early on, to be honest, we kind of felt it in the off season. And once the season started, we really felt, hey, this is a special group. Now, again, I think until you get into conference play, right, and you start going toe-to-toe and banging with the likes of the Michigans and the Indianas and the Iowas, you're like, that's our measuring stick. And we're like, yeah, we belong, and we belong. So
leading into today, really no clue, and there's so much parity in women's basketball right now. There are a lot of question marks with a lot of different seeds and teams and who would be where. But for you as a coach, was there any kind of prep that you could do it all? Like, could you do anything?
Yeah, I think, you look at it about projection-wise, where you could be, and like we kind of had an idea projection-wise without any bracketologists that, we were looking at, you could be 6, but we're thinking maybe a 7, possibly fall to an 8. We didn't know. But then when you looked at who you could play, knowing that they probably weren't going to put us against or in a region where one of the Big Ten teams were, that kind of eliminated a few. And so Gonzaga was one of those teams that were like, that's a very real possibility for us. So, so we kind of split up this week, and we had a little bit of extra downtime. So we divvied up and we watched some games on some of the potential teams we could play, and Gonzaga was one of them.
So what'd you see when you were watching them?
They are a very talented bunch. They're really well coached, very disciplined. They're balanced. They have a nice inside-outside game. It should be a great matchup.
What did you guys do last week? Because, again, it's kind of rare to have this whole week off. And speaking with some of your players, they said it was nice to have the week off to kind of recuperate after the Big Ten tournament. What did you guys focus on leading into today?
Yeah, absolutely. One is rest, right? There are a couple different times we were able to give them 2 days consecutive rest. And this time of year, fresh bodies and a fresh mind is worth a lot. And then obviously you're going to be able to do a little bit more fundamentals. Hey, let's at the end of the day, the ball's got to go in the hole, so spend a little extra time shooting. And then obviously just being crisp at what we already do. We've been doing it all year, but let's just fine-tune a few things offensively and defensively.
This team has proven they can compete with anybody. They have 3 top 10 wins. They've knocked off Michigan twice, Indiana. So, how confident is this team going into? We don't care who we're matched up against. We just want to be out there.
Absolutely. This team is extremely confident, and they should be. And one of the things is matchups are key. How do you match up? And obviously we're not going to look any further ahead than Gonzaga, but we know that potentially Louisville lies behind there, and that's okay. Because we feel like when we are playing at our best, we can beat anybody.
Other than Jazz, though, not much experience in the NCAA tournament. So how do you approach that when you got a lot of players that are experiencing this for the first time?
I think one of the things is that's the benefit of playing in the Big Ten, right? And you play in a lot of great environments, and you play a lot of intense competitive games. And so, it's not quite like the NCAA tournament, but I think it prepares you very well.
All right, so what is the key for this team to putting together those performances that you could go beat anybody on any given night?
Yeah, at the end of the day, defense and rebounding travels really well this time of year, right? And so for us to be able to defend, us to be able to rebound, and then obviously taking care of the ball, right? And we can do that, and we really pride ourselves at being able to play inside out. And I think having that balance will also serve us well.
All right, and what's the schedule like now? You guys know who you're playing now for sure. I'm sure you'll go get a game plan together and get back to practice and implement it with the team tomorrow.
Yeah, so, for the coaches, it means little sleep, right? No, it's a great thing, and we'll do some prep here today. And then tomorrow we'll practice, and it'll be more about us again, right? And then Tuesday will probably be a day that we have a little bit more of a down day or an off day even. And then Wednesday, Thursday, heavy focus for Gonzaga, and then, get ready to head out to Louisville.
All right, Tom, appreciate your time. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Can't wait to watch you guys on this run in the March Madness. All right, so we will step aside now. We will be done here on the court, but stick around because we will be taking you live to Amy Williams' press conference coming up shortly.
since Jazz played against Louisville in last year's NCAA tournament, it makes sense. That was not, it was not in Louisville, but that's why Jazz is here. So we'll get things started here with Coach Williams.
Yeah, we're incredibly excited to finally know who, when, where, and to be able to start planning and prepping, and excited for the opportunity in front of us. Our focus will be solely on Gonzaga and trying to learn as much as we possibly can over them, and trying to put together a 40-minute just solid performance in that first round game, and that's where we're going to spend the next several days, just locked in and focusing and excited for an incredible opportunity that's in front of us.
Questions?
What was it like waiting? I know there was a little bit of a longer wait maybe, but just like once they came up with Nebraska and Gonzaga, what was the feeling there?
I mean, it's just kind of relief once you finally can see your name and you know who the plan is, where you're going, and you know, it just has worked out where we've had such a long break since the Big Ten tournament was over until finding out. So I think that prepared us for the patience we needed to be the last bracket revealed.
Maybe what has this year meant to you? Just this experience with these girls, this journey that you guys have been on. How would you put into words? You know, you've been here for a little bit now, 6 years, I believe. So, what has this year specifically meant to you?
It's kind of hard for me to put into words. And as I was watching that video out there before the selection show, just kind of recapping some of the highlights from this year, and it just, you know, watching the joy on their faces as they are celebrating each other's successes, and I couldn't be more proud. I just am so almost emotional about just how much this group means to me and how much they mean to each other, and the way they've really leaned on each other and supported each other through the typical kind of adversity and ups and downs and highs and lows that a basketball season can bring your way. And I think it's pretty telltale about the character of these young women and how they're going to attack adversity in their futures, and I'm just really, really proud.
As you've had an opportunity to play for some special teams over the course of your career, medal-winning teams, obviously that Oregon team was tremendous. What are some themes that you see from those successful teams and this Husker team this year?
I think the teams that I've gone the furthest with has been based purely off chemistry. And I think that is one of the biggest factors that not every team has. And I think that I've never been a part of a team with this much chemistry that we have within this team. So I think this is a really special quality that it's really hard to build in most teams. And I think that we have the upper hand with that. And if we go into every game just loving what we do and playing together and smiles on our faces and just go out there, compete and believe, I think that's going to be awesome going into this tournament.
Yes, I know you were in the NCAA tournament last year, but you're banged up for a couple of those games, and then you played a little bit against Louisville. Does this feel at all like your first NCAA tournament in some ways, because you're going to go fully healthy into it?
I mean, it does. I think it's been a little rough with the NCAA tournaments. The first year, COVID happened, and we had a great team with a chance to really win the thing. So I think that was kind of a shot in the foot. And then the year after, I rolled my ankle and was out the first 2 games of the tournament last year. But I wouldn't want to go to the NCAA tournament with anyone else. So I'm really excited to maybe feel like this is my first NCAA tournament. And
Did you play Gonzaga when you were?
No, I've never played them.
Sam, first time hearing your name in an NCAA tournament. How significant is that for your career as a basketball player?
Yeah, it's really special. This is what I came here to do, is take that NCAA tournament berth. We're super excited. We knew this was going to be a special year, so finally hearing our name called, I think we're going to be ready to go.
What was it like to have all the fans show up and support you guys today?
You want to take that one?
It was fun. It was great to have them there, and like I said earlier to them, that they've been our biggest supporters and have helped us get some of our top 10 wins in PBA, so we're really happy to have them by our side and as a part of our family on this night.
The captains, I was talking to some of the fans, and they described kind of like the infectious joy that you guys play with, and you can really feel it like permeating throughout the arena. I'm wondering, as captains, how do you cultivate that? Is that built in practice? Is that built with just, from a love of hooping? How do you describe that?
I think a lot of it happens off the court. We're together a ton as a team, even if we're not in the gym. So I think that's definitely a huge part of building that chemistry, kind of like Jazz had said. But it definitely comes in practice, being able to hold each other accountable too. So when you get to those games and moments like that, you kind of expect everyone to bring it, and you can say something if it's not up to par.
Amy, do you think your seed was fair?
At this point, we know that every single team that's in this NCAA tournament is just going to be a very quality opponent. So we didn't get ourselves too bogged down with seeds. It's more about who we're playing, when, where, so we can plan our schedule, practice schedule, days off, and start the game prep. And so at this point, we're just excited for the opportunity in front of us. We know that Gonzaga will be a incredibly quality opponent. I know my staff has watched some film already, just kind of as there was some conversations about that being a possible pick when you have 10 days between your conference tournament and your NCAA tournament. Us coaches, we just look for things to fill our time with. But yeah, so we're gonna spend a lot of time over the next couple days getting ready for that game.
Just for any of the players, how helpful is it to have spring break the same week that you're kind of going into the tournament?
I mean, it's awesome. Last week, it was weird. Like, we hadn't had a team to prepare for, so we were just out there working on ourselves, and it was actually quite fun to be able to just play some competitive games and get out there and play against each other. I don't remember the last time I played defense on Sam. Like, it's really cool to not just play against our scout team for once, and I think that's going to be awesome. We've got that under our belt. We've fixed up, fine-tuned some stuff, and now we can go in and really scout this next team.
I know you're not focused on Louisville, right? But you know Jeff fairly well. Is that a team that you kind of know pretty well based on knowing him and having some experience playing them a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I mean, we did play them a couple of years ago, and I'm not really even going to focus on the style of play, but I'm quite sure, Jeff is somebody that he coached me. I reach out to him for advice on a lot of things, and so I'm quite sure that he's somebody we'll be hitting up for suggestions of what we should do for Louisville and food and just things like that down there. And I have a lot of respect for Coach Walls and what he's done and is doing, and the programs that he puts together, the program he's put together, the teams he's put together, the way he approaches things, and so I know that they're going to be ready to go, and we hope that we get the opportunity to face them.
Amy, for a lot of this team, this will be their first NCAA tournament. What's special about that as a coach for you?
Yeah, I think it's just it's hard to kind of put into words like what that experience feels like and what it means. You talk about it, you work towards it, and then for all of our young women to be able to see their hard work kind of pay off and to be able to get a taste of that. But the one thing I love the most about this group is that they are not satisfied. They're never satisfied. They just want to fight, and they're constantly wanting more. And so I think, when we came home from the Big Ten tournament, we were not satisfied. And everybody has just been talking about, we want to make another run. And so we're going into this tournament and not just excited about the experience, but excited about the opportunity to win and advance and to continue to taste firsts. And that's what I love about them.
Our NCAA tournaments generally, and this isn't to say anything about a front court, but the guards got to play well in NCAA tournaments, don't they? Like, doesn't it become a guard game in some ways?
Everybody has to play well in an NCAA tournament. When you think about, there's no way you can advance in tournament play if you're not rebounding. And so, you know, we've been fortunate to always have pretty balanced rebounding and coming from our guards, but your bigs better be in there banging around and coming away with rebounds. And so I feel like at this point, you know, we're going to need everybody to step up and rise to the occasion, and I've seen them do that, and I'm excited to watch it some more.
You full strength?
Yeah, knock on wood. Yeah, right now we feel pretty good, and we've had some days to kind of really recover and rest, and should be full strength.
As in that Wichita region, you have Oregon also there. You know, were you expecting that, or what was that?
I had no idea. I mean, obviously I'm gonna look out. Some of my best friends are still there, so it was kind of. I was waiting for them to come up, and I was like, oh, we're getting a little close. But it's awesome. I'm still happy for most of that program, so it's incredible to see that they're still up there as well.
Jazz, you guys weren't, I mean, you weren't like a bubble team. You weren't like watching this as a bubble team. What's this day like when you're pretty sure that you're in this thing?
I mean, it's super special, but like you said, you don't really know until it comes up on that board, so just that kind of sign of relief. But I mean, it was awesome to have Husker Nation here too. They've been nothing but incredible. So.
Yeah, as you kind of bet on yourself coming over here from Oregon, how fulfilling, it's not over yet, but how fulfilling has this year been with a new cast of characters, a new team to go on a journey like this? And what did that moment when you guys were announced kind of symbolize to you?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely not over, but I took a bet on it, but it's also I seen what they achieved last year, and I really thought that I could really help in some areas, and they had done all the groundwork, and it's just incredible to come in here seamlessly. Like Coach Williams has helped me, the coaches have helped me. It's been incredible just to be a part of this group, and they did most of the work last year, honestly.
Amy, last week, what was the emphasis offensively, defensively to make sure you're a good team when the tournament starts?
Yeah, well, we had a little trouble in the tournament keeping the ball in front of us, so we may or may not have put a heavy emphasis on trying to contain penetration defensively and really kind of shoring that up. Ball screen defense, trying to be sharp on that, and then you know, offensively, we really just broke down execution and tried to be picky with timing and just little details of setting screens up and the things that you have to do to be able to really execute at this time of year when people are going to watch 29, 30 games that you've played up to this point.
How many days did you practice?
I don't know. We took a couple days off after our Iowa game in the tournament, and then we came back and practiced a few days in a row, and then maybe another day off or two, and then practiced again here today getting ready, and so I think at least 4 or 5 maybe.
Izzy, your play's kind of gone up here in the last 3-4 weeks. What do you think's behind that? The shooting and the scoring and the rebounding, all that?
Just staying confident in myself. Obviously, I had a little bit of a drop in my shooting percentages earlier in the year, but really just my teammates have stayed confident in me, and coach as well, just always telling me to shoot it when I'm open, having confidence in me to knock it down. So just honestly staying with it has been the biggest thing.
Is that what you've seen too?
Yeah, I think so, and I think Izzy's stayed confident. She continues to work in the gym. I think teams at the tail end kind of maybe we're scheming a little differently with Lex, and that put us in some positions with to be able to really utilize Izzy's strengths and to have some mismatches in certain situations where we knew she had the advantage and we could go to her early inside, or if people were doubling off or trying to go in, she's capitalized inside outside and really knocked down perimeter shots. And so I think it's been kind of just a combination of her continuing to work and you know, just capitalizing on the way that teams were defending us.
Sam, as a veteran and a leader on this team, how special is it for you to be able to lead this team into the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's been a really fun season so far. I know we're all excited to get down to Louisville, get things rolling, but it's been incredible. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else, so we're going to be ready to go.
Coach, how different will this week look like building up to the games? Will it kind of just be business as normal like it's been all year? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be business as normal. I think somebody brought it up already that we're on spring break. So our players, they're not going to class all day, and then we're trying to fit our practice time around their class schedules. And so we have a little more flexibility this week than we normally do with some of our preparation and work and film and things like that. So, but yeah, other than that, it's going to be pretty much business as usual as far as the prep practices and what they look like and getting ready.
What was the last week like for you watching from the stands for 3 straight games?
Yeah.
Your kid came close. She played really well. I'm sure you think she played well, but what was that like those 3 days watching her?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it was a blessing that with the Big Ten wrestling championships here, it kind of pushed that state tournament to a situation where we were not having to be in Indianapolis at the same time that was going on. And as a mother, that was an incredible blessing to be able to be here and watch my daughter play 3 games in the state tournament at Pinnacle Bank Arena. But also for recruiting purposes, it's really nice to not to be freed up for that as well. So just a pretty special week, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Anything else? Okay, very good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.